Fiona Ara. Okay, you're for members of the committee, she's listed number 1 as on the deputants list. Ms. Ara, you're going to have 5 minutes to speak. You can watch your time up here on this clock as you proceed.
Okay.
Please start.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today concerning development at 66 to 76 Kippendavie Avenue. My first concern when I heard about the development was the issue of water and groundwater and the consequent flooding on the street. I would like to give you a brief summary of my attempts to get answers to my questions on this issue, which is so critical for homeowners in the beach. In the interest of time, I'm going to summarize some aspects, but I would be happy to provide a fuller story and documentation if it is requested. On December 7th of 2009, our then Councillor Sandra Bussen held a meeting with Teen Major, the city planner who was present. At this meeting, I asked Ms. Major about the water issue and told them of my concern that this development would be like dropping a boulder in a bathtub. Ms. Major assured me that city staff would review the area to make sure that it was okay for the development. In January 2010, I wrote to Sandra Bussen with my concerns. February of 2010, again, I wrote, Ms. Bussen's office declares that they have a clear win with the developer, and there's no mention of the water issue. February 11th, I wrote to Ms. Major and Ms. Bussen. March 5th, I wrote again to Ms. Major with documentation. Specifically, I asked what the city is going to do to ensure that we do not suffer property damage. She replies to me, the developer will be required to meet a 100-year storm level on site. Ms. Major indicates that she is not an expert on this matter and refers me to Pat Skanga, development engineer and technical services. On March the 8th, I emailed Ms. Major, Mr. Skanga, and Doug Bleaney. I reiterate my concerns about groundwater, with specific reference to flooding issues between the townhouses at 90 Kippendavie Avenue, which is just north of the property, and the co-op at 80 Kippendavie Avenue, one down from it and right adjacent to the property, that resulted from the construction of a recessed parking area much smaller than the one proposed by Worsley Development. 80 Kippendavie Avenue had flooding in their basement because of this development. What followed was an exchange of emails. I asked about groundwater and got responses about stormwater. I grew even more concerned that this issue was, for reasons I could not understand, being ignored. On May the 5th, we had another community meeting with Ms. Major present. In response to my questions and concerns, and other concerns voiced by residents, Ms. Major retorted that she does not have the reports from the department and thus cannot answer specifics. As to the questions as to why, with no knowledge of these reports, she can support the development, Ms. Major replies that she is okay with it. At this point, my concern about this entire process balloons. May the 11th, Sandra Bussen sends an email to Teen Major and to area residents calling for the planning to reject the proposal as it stands. She lists 5 major issues, one being the water and excavation. August 17th, so there's a community council meeting and I cannot attend. Luckily, Ms. Bussen requested deferral so that the owners of the development will engage an independent engineering firm to perform a peer review of the proposed stormwater retention tank and make the results of the review available to residents. September 17th, I attend a public open house at Jimmy Simpson Center concerning basement flooding investigation in the beach. It becomes readily apparent that our neighborhood is strained to capacity and many of my concerns about the proposed development impact are echoed in this meeting. A city engineer tells us that we should request a groundwater study, and I do so, thinking that this would be straightforward. What actually happens is that I'm bounced around the labyrinth of city departments, all of whom are eager to send me elsewhere, and no one seems willing to take responsibility. I try to ascertain who is responsible for what and who makes the final decisions. The level of confusion is appalling, and my concerns about groundwater are met with responses about stormwater. October 21st, Pat Skanga sends out an email to me, and he states, regarding the hydrogeotechnical study, this has been discussed internally, and we've agreed that due to existing area-specific issues, as they may affect the applicant's proposed stormwater management solution, we will be requesting that this type of study be undertaken as part of the overall stormwater management plan. He also sends me a copy of a letter dated April the 23rd, 2010, where Technical Services responds to Cole Engineering's site plan. This letter outlines concerns about development and its impact on sewage and neighborhood buildings due to existing conditions in the area. To date, Cole Engineering has not responded to the city's letter. In the end, it becomes apparent to me that this all winds up back on Ms. Major's desk. I write to her about the groundwater and why it was not considered in her report, nor the concerns of the technical services. She replies, what goes into the report is what is in it. You have a copy. I will not be preparing a detailed explanation of my job for you. I prepare the report, my manager and director sign it. If they want additional info put into it, they ask for it before it's signed. As a resident of the area affected by the decision she has made, I want an answer, please. There are serious issues with the retention tank at the foot of Kenilworth Avenue, with the capacity of the area to absorb more sewage. KBNA has researched and documented these issues, in effect at our expense. We have done what the city should have done so prematurely before allowing this development.
Ms. Ara, can I ask you to wind up?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm just asking you to please take into account the report that was submitted by our engineer that we hired to do it, and by Pat Skanga's letter, and please study this before you take vote in February.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions of the deputant?
Yes, I do.
Councillor Fletcher.
I was at that same basement flooding meeting, and there's currently an EA underway throughout my area, lots of basement flooding issues, and also in Councillor McMahon's area. Mm-hmm. Was Kippendavie one of those areas that was shown on the map?
Yes, we were Zone 1.
You're within one of the zones that
Zone 1,
there's currently an environmental assessment on to determine how to manage the basement flooding in these areas. Okay, I wasn't clear if it was part of the zone, but I think I'll, thank you. Do you have that letter here, the Skangas letter?
It was filed into your report that you should have received on December the 7th, along with the engineering report, which is a 10-page report by the engineer who we hired. I hope you have it. It was forwarded to Roz Doyle's office, or Dyer's, sorry, thank you.
You'll see it, councillors, in your communications listing in the orange package. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions of the deputant?
Thank you.
Whatever you call this color. I'll be salmon, orange,
Perfect color.
salmon. Yeah. That's right. This is a pinko color for those of you who are. Seeing no further questions of the deputant, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Councillor Mihevc.
Yes, sorry. On one of the pages I read, and I'm at the other end of the city, so I don't really. But there is it says that the applicant will be required to put in a stormwater retention tank that will have to deal with 100-year storms. I'm just wondering how you read that and whether that.
What we're saying is that right now you have a lot of buildings in the area. This Kew Beach School at the top of the street, the swimming pool at the bottom of the street, none of these have underground footprints. The reason being the groundwater level in the area is so high and the infrastructure cannot handle that kind of footprint. The groundwater table is so high that in the springtime you look at the ponds, anything, even my backyard, there's standing water when it doesn't rain because the ground can't take anything else in. If you put in this large building with the existing infrastructure, the pipes on the street, the increased sewage that's coming from the building, the population of the school's gone up by about 100 kids in the past 2 years. It can't take it anymore. And the systems, it's just not set up for it. And what we're asking is that the city look at that situation, not the stormwater, but the actual impact of putting this massive underground footprint, plus almost close to probably about a 40% increase to this population of the street, right, by bringing another 100 people onto a one-block street that has under 200 people on it.
Okay, so, but that statement, when I read reports like this, you think, okay, you can't ask this developer to basically fix everything, but you can demand of this developer that it be no worse than what it is before.
But what we're saying is that zoning should have taken into account before saying that they approve this development, that the impact of putting in a development of this type in a street where none of the existing houses on that lot have a basement presently. We're saying that this development is not appropriate unless they understand that the impact of underground building in an area that has water issues is not going to make it worse. According to Pat Skanga's letter, which you have there, he does question if putting this building in will have problems on adjacent buildings.
Right. Okay, thank you, that's helpful.
No problem.
Any further questions of the deputant? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Ms. Ara.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. I'd like to call to see if there are any other people who wish to speak today, reminding you that there will be the February opportunity.